Good Fortune feels like a movie that would have come out in the 80s. A life swap comedy about money. But does it update that idea for a new generation? Or does its execution feel stuck in the past? Grab a cup of coffee and let's find out. Good Fortune follows Arj, a man down on his luck, doing odd jobs for people to get through life living in his car. He finds a very wealthy man to work for named Jeff, played by Seth Rogen, until things go wrong and Arj hits his lowest low. So low, in fact, that Keanu Reeves, as the angel Gabriel, steps in and swaps Arj's life with Jeff's, to both show Jeff what living in your car is like, and Arj that just because his life isn't full of money doesn't mean it's not worth living. Alright, let's have the hard conversation first. This movie is both written and directed by Aziz Ansari, a man whose comedy that I've never really vibed with, alright? Don't go at me, sorry, it's just simply not my cup of tea, but I gotta say, I'm impressed with what he's done here. Ansari comes across as this really bubbly, happy person in real life, and he brings that side of him to the role of Arj, but in a really heartbreaking way that works. For example, there's a conversation between Arj and another guy in the beginning of this movie where you can tell he's really forcing a smile. He talks like this, where he sounds all happy and bubbly, like in real life, but he still won't look you in the eye when he's talking to you, or he'll start trailing off with his sentences. He plays really well a man who's happy on the outside but really struggling on the inside. I was impressed. On the complete flip side of that coin is Seth Rogen as the billionaire Jeff. And you'd expect him to do what every other movie does with a character like this. You make him a jerk rich guy. A dick who's that once he does hit his low when they do the life swap thing, you're like, yeah man, get what you deserve, take it. No, Good Fortune actually makes a really unique choice with Jeff. They make him a nice and really fun guy to be around, so that when he does lose money when he life swaps with Arj, you empathize with him, you feel for him, as both you and he learn what living that low feels like. And since he is so friendly, when both he and Ansari are on screen together, there's no awkwardness, there's no tension, you feel good. You feel good watching them. This movie has a lot of positivity through its characters, despite its subject matter. And that positive, feel-good nature of this film is tripled when Dad is on screen. Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I mean, he steals the show here. He does. It's just so much fun to watch Keanu do the voice he always does, but as this aloof angel who just doesn't understand humans yet, as if he literally was born yesterday. It's mainly due to the fact that Keanu Reeves' angel Gabriel is directly tied to the unique story that Good Fortune's trying to tell. You've heard it before. Reeves shows up and says, I'm gonna swap Arj and Jeff's lives to show that money doesn't solve all your problems. In any other movie, that would likely be the film that we see. But in Good Fortune, both we and Keanu see that, you know what? Money does solve a lot of your problems. That original idea of money not solving all your issues doesn't really work in a modern day story. It's a bit too simple, a bit too black and white. So Good Fortune, it just doesn't do that. It does something else entirely. Gabriel will look at Arj and say, see, now that you have all this money, you have to worry about bills. Isn't that bad? Isn't that just troublesome? And Arj will be like, dude, I was living in my car before this. I'll take bills any day of the week. Moments like that were awesome to see because I think it does set this movie apart, making an age-old moral feel like it's caught up with the times. So you would think that with that unique approach, Good Fortune would end with a unique resolution as well. One that where money does solve all your problems, Arj still wants to go back to his life after some lesson learned, despite his temporary stint as a billionaire. And that lesson, that final outcome, is where Good Fortune fumbles the bag. I could not tell you what lesson Arj learns in this movie. I couldn't, because the movie never really makes him learn one. So for example, as a result of this life swap, it's mentioned that Arj's dad does not remember him. He does not remember Arj. So you're probably expecting a moment in the movie where Arj walks up to his dad. He's like, what, you don't remember me? I'm your son. And then he gets all sad and he's like, was all this money worth my own dad not remembering me? Blah, blah, blah. The life we lived together, I don't know. But no, we never get that. We don't get that conversation whatsoever. All we get is a brief monologue towards the end and his dad showing up on the dance floor, dancing like nothing's happened anyway, as if nothing was different. That and a couple other examples I won't spoil are punches that a movie like this should not have pulled. It doesn't help that when the movie does try to do something powerful or emotional, it just tells you instead. No, like literally tells you, verbally. The characters just speak what the movie wants you to feel. There is nothing in Good Fortune that I took away from the film that it didn't tell me verbally. Films like this are best on the car ride home, when I really get to think about its messages and form my own opinions on it. There's a beauty to uncovering a movie's message, even if it is one you've heard before. But when Seth Rogen just looks at the camera and tells me that people should be paid fair wages, that's a good message, sure, but not effective storytelling. That assumes that I, the audience member, cannot think for myself. And this movie's rated R. It's not like babies are in here. I should feel that Arj is giving up on his life through actions, through emotional gut punches, not through what this movie does instead, which is point a camera directly at his phone as he types a text message saying, "I am giving up on life." And to make matters worse, when the characters are speaking the movie's lessons to you, they don't sound like real people. You met that girl over tacos, and now you're going out for more tacos? Dude, that's like too many tacos. Inhuman dialogue works for someone like Keanu Reeves because he's not a human, and because it's Keanu Reeves. But everyone talks that way. It grates on you, and I can't relate to a person like that for 2 hours. So does Good Fortune fulfill its premise? You know, not quite. There's so much more you could have done with this, and when it tries to do something unique, it does it in the laziest way possible. Characters telling you what to think rather than taking the effort to make you think. But even if I didn't have to think while watching Good Fortune, I did feel good watching this. I smiled whenever all three characters were on screen doing cold plunges or hanging out in restaurants talking about nothing. I loved the modern approach to tell a modern story about money and life with money and how complicated it can be. Ansari was on to something here, no doubt about it, and when he gets those moments right, they're the best parts of the film. I just do hope that his next outing has a few more script revisions and more Keanu Reeves. I'm gonna say absolutely give Good Fortune a try with a nice cup of coffee when it comes out on streaming. But what did you think of Good Fortune? Or what's other feel-good life swap movie that you would recommend? Let me know down in the comments below, and for more movie chats like these over a cup of coffee, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.